Done deal, Tyrell Malacia to Manchester United. The clubs have agreed the fee. It's done. They're waiting on the player's final decision, but United have hijacked Olympique Lyon with a higher bid for the very talented young left back. We're going to delve into that story in more detail. But also Lisandro Martinez, the new bid by Arsenal is being considered. It is being reviewed. No rejection as many people thought because it's below the asking price. Martinez wants to join the Premier League. Arsenal are the front runners. We're also going to delve into the De Jong deal. Of course, breaking news on that today that Manchester United have come to a principal agreement with Barcelona. Another big money deal in the Premier League is Richarlison. It is now expected that a deal for £60 million will happen. Richarlison will become a Tottenham Hotspur player. We're going to delve into all that and much, much more on the show. I'm joined again, as ever, by Jessica Black. How are you?
I'm doing well. Guys, I know I was not nice to Terry last time. I'm going to be nice to him this time, I promise. Sorry. I'm in a better mood. My bad.
Yeah,
sorry.
That's cool. That's cool. It's all good as well. And I am being told there's some other breaking news right now, and I'm just gonna wait before
About what?
Just hold your horses. Like, when I say these things, like that's when you simmer and you wait for the host, the king of the terrace, to speak.
The king of the terrace.
He has said, this is what he said. Chelsea are giving serious consideration to a Raphinha bid. Now, we'll talk Raphinha a little. I've got a Raphinha video coming out later. It's actually annoying me because everything I've got coming out about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock tonight on Raphinha is exactly what people have been talking about all afternoon. All to do with Dembele, all to do with Richarlison, and we're going to delve into that. But I wanted to start with the big news this afternoon. I mean, two big bits of Manchester United news today. The first, Frankie de Jong. The second, Tyrell Malacia, young 22-year-old left back from Feyenoord. Lyon looked like they were going to get him for around 13 million. Man United have now come in and put a 15 million pound bid in for this young man. The deal has been agreed to by Feyenoord, so you would expect now Lyon to go up their bid if they're going to get him. They're waiting on the player's final decision. How good a deal do you think that this is, coupled in the same day that United reached a £56 million agreement with Barcelona for the brilliant Frankie de Jong?
Well, if you can't hijack Olympique Lyon, then what kind of club are you? I mean, I think I'm not going to go as far as you went earlier, like backstage, but Malacia is a good player. Good young player. So yeah, I mean, if this is what Ten Hag wants, then you got to bring him in, right? I think that puts questions over Alex Telles, somebody who you said was going to be like one of the best left backs in the league.
I thought he could have been. And I was wrong on that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But Malacia is kind of like, a Lamptey type player, and so I think there's maybe some question around like what kind of system Ten Hag is going to play, stuff like that. But in terms of the deal, like cheap, Manchester United definitely could get that done. Olympique Lyonnais is not going to have any opportunity to come back and get him. I'm sure he'll say yes right after he gets off of the phone with Louis van Gaal, that kind of stuff. So yeah, good deal. Not going to go as far to say like he's going to be the best left back in the league, but definitely a good young player. I mean, what do you think? Say what you said.
Some time for some home truth. I was being sarcastic. You and Miguel, you North Americans have got to learn to understand sarcasm. Let me speak.
I don't think you were being sarcastic.
Of course I was being sarcastic. Let me get this out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put this into a better, this is better. Can you all hear me?
Oh my gosh.
Nobody knew who he was last season. But that's not the point, right? So no one knew who he was, right? No one really, I'm sure there are some people that play FIFA or play manager games that kind of knew who he was. But the TLs for none of our clubs in the Prem were filled with, got to go and sign Malacia, got to go and sign Malacia, got to go and sign Malacia. What I've read about him, and we were linked to him about a week ago when everybody was saying, you get rejected again. what I've read about him is very, very positive. Of course, I've watched some footage of him on Y Scout. I've seen some stuff on YouTube. Looks decent. I don't have an opinion on how good or bad he's going to be because I don't know enough about him. But that in itself excites me. In the same way that Arsenal fans were like, wow, Fabio Vieira, I would say 95% of you had never heard of him. 3 or 4% of you had heard of him. Zero. I can't find the tweet of one single Arsenal fan saying, I think we should sign him. United fans are the same in this situation here, same energy. But there's an excitement about that. The anticipation is, I don't know enough about him. So when it's a player that's obvious, when it's a player that we all know and watch, you kind of know what to expect. Signings like this, especially at £15 million in 2022 for a 22-year-old, it's almost risk-free. There's almost no risk to it. It gives us a bit more quality in a fullback position. It gives us some extra athleticism because Alex Telles' biggest problem isn't his technique. It's that the guy runs like he's wearing concrete boots in treacle. There's no movement in the guy. The guy's hips are stiff. The geezer's Brazilian. He's got no hips. That's a madness. So for me, I look at this signing and think, excellent. It also dispels a myth, and I don't want to plagiarize. Canadian can put it in there first. Man United can't work on 2 deals at once. Jokers in our fan base. And this is the point. We've been working on these deals simultaneously. And the one thing for me is, and I'm tweeting this now as we speak, Man United are confident right now of signing 3 players this week. Of course, Malacia, Frankie de Jong, and the decision from Eriksen is being made this week. Man United are confident on this happening. They're confident on this going through. But what's been reported on for about 4 weeks, I don't mind rivals ignoring this because your job isn't to prop us up. But the Man United fans that have ignored the reports from credible sources that have stated de Jong agreeing to join was going to be create a domino effect. Was always going to create this, well, de Jong's going, that's a good sign for us. I might join now because people wanted to see that somebody was taking us seriously. And I think now de Jong is pretty much there. It's pretty much over the line. There's some minor details to fix. You get in this young player. You then bring in someone like an Eriksen. And then you look at it and go, what a great start to the window. You've got 3 players coming in for the preseason tour. They'll then go on to work for other players. You've got Anthony, who is begging Ajax to negotiate with Manchester United because he wants to come to play for us. And it's a good start. Look, none of these signings fix Manchester United. None of these signings are going to make us title contenders next year. No one should be getting carried away. But very talented, very technical footballers, which tells you one thing. It gives you an idea of how Man United are going to play next season. Whether it's 3 at the back, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. I'm not someone who fusses over formations. I don't think they're that important. They are for your structure when you're defending. When it comes to the attacking element, I just want to see the fluidity in the play, the ball retention, and that's actually being able to dominate territories on the football pitch. And these types of players, the talent ID and the age profile we're looking at, I think is very, very good indeed. And I think I really do feel like this. I'm not saying he'll be phenomenal, but the types of player we're looking at, it tells us how we're going to play. And over the course of time, Ten Hag has a great opportunity. If the Glazers continue in one direction, he can fix a lot of the problems broken at Man United over time. So yeah, I'm really happy with it, if I'm being honest.
Okay. No, wait. You wanted me to ask a question? No, I mean,
you give a comprehensive answer, and she's got nowhere to go. You're new to this.
Okay. No, I know I was gonna go with it. No, I think that obviously Manchester United were working on things. I think there was a lot of I think like a desperation of some people to go into the negative with Manchester United, kind of for clicks and for stuff like that. But like, obviously they were working on other deals. And so you can see that. The Eriksen one is interesting because like getting him in, getting Frankie de Jong in, not getting or being linked to a DM could still happen. But I just feel like Frankie de Jong is going to be the DM. I feel like he's going to be the deepest in midfield. Like it just feels like that, doesn't it? And that's why I know, but there's still Manchester United fans out there that are talking about bringing in some sort of midfield destroyer, and it's literally not happening. Like
because that's not how Ten Hag wants to play. And do you know what's funny about the phrase midfield destroyer? I'm not even going to lie, right? I'm not this type of person, right? I don't. But sometimes I feel like it's a little bit shrouded in a little bit of richismo, if I'm being honest with you, right? Because
of what?
Richismo. Racism, right? Do you know what it is, right? And the reason I say that is this. I'll give you an example. Thomas Partey is not a destroyer. He is a ball-playing midfielder. Now, he's got some physicality. He is. When he's at his best, he plays ball. He isn't a bone cruncher, is he? He's not. Your play goes through him. But there's a perception of him that he's that. You get a player like De Jong, and people see slightly thin, fair skin, blonde hair. Well, he's just going to get bullied. So, well, if you actually ask people, why do you think that? The stats don't back it up, by the way. I looked the other day. You look at the amount of times he wins the ball back compared to Bissouma. He wins the ball back in a game. He wins possession back double the amount of times per game that Bissouma does. On a percentage basis, not on entirety. But of course, Barca have the ball a lot more than their opponents compared to Brighton. So he has less opportunity as well. It's a madness for me. Sometimes people go, we need a destroyer. Well, like, what do you mean? And everyone they name, it's like, yeah. I'm like, half those players aren't even destroyers. You just see them that way. You see them, their size, their stature, the country that they're from. And you're like, yeah, he'll smash through people in. Like Paul Pogba was a big lad. He wasn't a battler. He isn't going to go on the pitch and fight. And then you've got someone like Verratti. Verratti is very technically gifted, but he likes a bit of a scrap. Honestly, it's a madness to me. Like the way people do it. Frankie de Jong will hold that midfield for Man United impeccably in a Ten Hag system. He doesn't need to be a bone cruncher. Michael Carrick wasn't a bone cruncher. Best holding midfield player the Premier League has ever had. And for me, barring Patrick Vieira, he was better. But like for me, I just sort of look at it like the United fans have got to start reading these reports, listening to what's being said. And we had a Barca fan phone up today saying he's so upset he's leaving. And the fact that he was at the club 3 years or so and he never really got played in the proper position. So Barca fans are saying it. But yeah, it's good business. It's good business so far for Man United. A long way to go. Fans have got to understand that we're not going to fix every hole and every problem this summer, but it's a very, very good start.
Yeah, I mean, we had a similar thing last season. You know, a lot of people said the window was terrible because it didn't solve blankety, blankety, blank, but what's in there? What's that? What is that?
That is almond milk, orange juice, 2 bananas, blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries.
Yeah, so, you know, with the window, especially when you're trying to start over or change something around, like you're not going to be able to solve everything in one window. And obviously, like, I think Ten Hag wants some sort of foundation. He wants to bring in players that know, you know, the system and how to play the way that he wants to play. And so you kind of have to bring in players that are closer to home. And so that's where the Malacia comes in. Donny van der Beek will probably have an important part to play. Eriksen, De Jong. To me, it makes sense. Is it the most exciting? Probably not. But like, it doesn't need to be exciting. It needs to be what Ten Hag wants. You know?
And that's the most important point you pull on there. It's about what Ten Hag wants. It's about what he thinks is going to get Manchester United back to their very best. And obviously going to move on to talking Arsenal and a little bit of Chelsea and Tottenham a little bit later on in the show. So make sure you stay with us, people, especially rivals. I will say this to the rivals that tune in. Sometimes I feel like rivals only stay or they only watch or read news about their own club. They don't really delve into what's being said about rivals. And then they have opinions that are just sometimes, like I sit on it sometimes and people go, oh, Terry, but what about this? I'm like, bro, the article was written about that a week ago. It was a big spread in the Athletic. Surely you read it.
Yeah.
No, people don't. But yeah, look, it's an interesting one for me. There's some super chats here. It says, what club does this girl support? Jessica is an Arsenal fan. There we go. Matt, wow. We're going to get onto the Matt Law thing and Raphinha a little bit later. Factico, or Factos, sorry, says, Terry, I am sure Ten Hag himself said Frankie de Jong is not at his best as a lone DM. He is a ball carrier. He will need someone to cover him when he goes forward. But this all depends on the formation, and maybe he will have that. There are things that you don't like hearing, but it's true. If we play with 3 at the back, which could happen, you get cover when he goes forward by a centre-back stepping forward. That's first and foremost what could happen. Lisandro Martinez, who could come to Man United, could be that player. He quite likes Maguire. Maguire, for England and for Leicester, was very good at doing those things. So that's first and foremost, there's a position there that could be filled. There are also players like Fred and McTominay, and McTominay was reported on today by the Times. Erik Ten Hag doesn't want sold this summer, wants to give him a chance and an opportunity. United are also going to be looking at other players. Donny van der Beek's going to get an opportunity. there's a way of playing. None of us really know yet what he's going to do. And I think what we're kind of doing is we're sort of looking at what other teams do and go, well, when this player goes forward, this player sits back. But if you actually listen to the Dutch experts, they talk about him playing the Busquets role. Now, yes, he might be great at carrying the ball forward, but Man United are looking and already got other midfielders who can carry the ball or pass the ball forward or progress the ball from more advanced positions. What we actually don't have is someone who can sit back and orchestrate with the ball behind the center circle or just in front of it and spray those balls into the danger areas. We lack someone that can do that. No, Pogba was pretty good at it, but he didn't really want to be there. He wanted to be further forward. All the Dutch talk about is how this guy is dead Busquets. So for me, that's where he's going to get played. That's where he played for Ajax. That's where he plays to the Netherlands half the time in the middle of a 3 in a 4-3-3. So that's what he's going to do, my friend. That's what he's going to do. United are back. All right, Terry. Now, listen, we're not back, nowhere near it. I'm going to ring fence my excitement. So well done, business is happening. More so, I'm just happy because me and KJ were right. Do you know what I mean? Just told everyone to calm down, relax, all going to be okay. Everyone panicking. Listen, the Fungus fans they're in the light today. They're going to shrivel up and die. Metaphorically speaking, I'm talking about fungus, not literally. I hope everyone is well and safe. But that's what Man United are looking to do at the minute. And I want to get everybody's thoughts and feelings in relation to this business. I want to know what you feel. Please make sure you're smashing that like button for us. We're closing in on 3,000 people watching us live. We've got Lisandro Martinez updates to come for you. We're going to talk Richarlison. Big Raphinha news is breaking. It doesn't destroy my video for later. I put a lot of work into that. And do you know why I didn't release it? Because it was meant to come out at 1. And then the Frankie de Jong news came out. So I had to delay it. And now all these journalists are pipping me to the post. Very sad. Very sad. That's not really. I'm just messing around. What is it I just read there? I read a really weird comment. And now I've lost it. Terry carrying the show once again. It's only because we're talking Man United. And that's my sort of turn to sort of speak. Let me ask you this question, though, Jay. If Man United don't sign what people call a stereotypical CDM, do you think we will struggle next year to implement Ten Hag's system?
I mean, you don't know what the system is, so how could you don't really know. I see where the fear is coming from because it's the Premier League, and to not have somebody there with some physicality might, see Manchester United as maybe a weaker midfield. I do think that there's a level of there needs to be somebody in there that can do some mopping up. But equally, you don't want to have somebody that's like a traditional Sissoko type guy that can't really dribble a ball or pass a ball. That's not what you want. So it's hard to find that balance. I do think that a midfield of Eriksen, Donny van der Beek, and Frankie de Jong, looks really good on paper, but against some of the more physical sides, I could see them getting pressed and bumped around. And so it would be a matter of will the tiki-taka stand up? That kind of thing. But, it's about the rest of the system. Does everything else work? And so you just have to wait and see. I really do think Manchester United fans need to wait and see, making a lot of assumptions based on their own wants and their own fears. And maybe Ten Hag knows what he wants to do. Maybe Fred or McTominay, players that are still in your side now, will play in that midfield and add a little bit of that, physicality. Both of those players have some physicality in them or some box-to-boxness about them. So I would just say, just wait and see, relax.
It's so spot on. And the reason I say you're spot on about that is because as much as McTominay frustrated me at times, Fred, people will be able to find the tweets. I don't care. They're neither good enough. Get rid of him. We all say things in the heat of the moment. But the one thing we have to maintain, which is true, and that we've said many, many times, is that Ollie wasn't a good enough coach. Well, first of all, Jose didn't want Fred. And I often think he was utilising McTominay in the wrong positions, playing in defence and stuff. I know Scotland playing there, but that's another conversation. Ollie came in and was a good guy, but didn't really have the system and the tactics. And it didn't work out with Ralf Rangnick. The same people that talk about world-class talent like Paul Pogba being ruined by Man United because of no training, no system, no coaching, they never apply their logic to the lesser players. if Pogba's game looks poor because of training and the system and the coaching, what do you think that does to players with less quality? Like they're going to look even worse, right? It's just a simple thing. So you suddenly bring in someone like a Ten Hag that can create a system and get the very best out of what he's got. I'm not suggesting, even by the news today from the Times, that McTominay is going to go on to be a stalwart in this Man United team for 5 years. I think what will happen with the likes of Fred and McTominay is they will play in roles for the time being until the money is generated the following summers to bring in players to do their jobs in a better way. But Ten Hag isn't going to come out and say that. If he comes out on day one and says, yeah, Fred, McTominay, Rashford, Shaw, Maguire, him and him and him, none of them are good enough, and over the next couple of years, they're gone. That dressing room's already destroyed. He needs to come out. People will call it PR, but it isn't PR, it's clever management. You need these players to believe it, that to feel like they're being believed in, because he's going to have to utilize some players that a percentage of the fan base don't want. He can't just look how long it's taken Arteta to build his squad. In fairness, it took Pep 2 or 3 years. It took Klopp 3 or 4 years. Klopp wasn't. It was only a few weeks ago. Klopp said in an interview that Minamino is Mr. FA Cup and Mr. Carabao Cup. He's brilliant for us. He then sold him. He sold him because he ain't good enough. He ain't good enough, and he sold him. And this is what will happen to certain players. It's almost. Don't take everything Ten Hag says literally to the nth degree, and understand that an element of it is politics. It is a game, and over the course of time, if the manager is the right guy and the club backs him, he will move on the players that are not good enough. The problem is with football fans is, and we've had this conversation many times recently, football fans are too up in their own feelings. If a player's picked who they think should be sold, they're so offended that they act up. Or I've even seen it in particular fan bases for players signed that they said, nah, there's no way that our manager's talent ID and profile of player and system would support the signing of a Gabriel Jesus or of a Raheem Sterling. And then the managers really want those players. And these guys can't accept the fact that their opinion was wrong. Does that make sense? And a lot of this is opinion-based, and it's fine for fans to have opinions, but sometimes you just got to let go and say, I was wrong about that one. The manager clearly sees something. Let's just relax and see what comes out of this,
Yeah, I just think you got to wait and see. He's going to have to use some of those players, and it might be bumpy. I do think that, it may not. I'm not saying Manchester United will be terrible. All I'm saying is that it may take time for him to implement a system. He's not going to have the right pieces. If this is the window, you have Anthony, you have Frankie de Jong, you have Eriksson, and you have Malacia. Maybe you bring in one more. You still got a ways to go. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just one of those where Manchester United fans need to be patient. And I mean, if you trust Ten Hag, which I've seen a lot of, I trust him, then just relax. Like there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, exactly. And it's almost, don't be drawn out by the banter, because sometimes rivals have made it very easy for Man United fans to ride banter this year. You've told us all we're a dead club. You've told us all no one's going to downgrade to play for us. You've told us we're a joke. You've told us we're never, why are you excited, Terry? You're never going to achieve anything. It's great. That means there's no banter all season now from rivals. If we don't do well, they've already told us we're bad. You can't banter a bad team for being bad. That's not how banter works. Rival fans they're honestly, too many have shot their load too early with Man United. You should be saying, oh, I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit this. You guys could do something. Build it up and then go, you fouled. You've told us we're rubbish. You've done it now. You've got it out of the way. It's brilliant. You guys have done our jobs for us. It's so easy.
I mean, are you a little bit upset that people are counting you guys out? I mean, honestly. No. Do you feel like you deserve more respect, or
no? I feel like Man United teams that have won Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues and trebles need more respect. This Man United team being bantered, it's fair game, but you not thinking Man United are going to be any good, won't improve, will go backwards, doesn't change how I feel about my team and my club. So I can just take it on the chin. Now we can banter and have a laugh and joke on camera, but when all's said and done and the dust settles, I don't walk away going, I can't believe an Arsenal fan doesn't rate Ten Hag. Because I know in my heart of hearts you're capping anyway. Like, I don't think anybody believes that Manchester United are going to be as bad as last year. I don't think there's a single football fan in England that thinks we're going to be as bad as last year. And as bad as we were last year, we were a couple of wins away from being in the top 4. So as much as Arsenal and Spurs have kind of been celebrated for what they did last year, it's the worst we've ever been. And we were a handful of wins away from being in front of you guys. We're not a million miles away, and we were awful. So we'll catch up and be in and around. We needed signings, we needed players, but it is what it is. And if everyone writes us off and says we're coming 6th or 7th, then the only way is up, isn't it? Like, we're not going to finish lower than that. Like, the only way is up. So, yeah, I'm really relaxed about it. I'm not that worried. I'm not too frustrated. It's what it is. I'm so cool about it. Like,
it's like the way you're saying it is funny.
It is
not
what
worried.
it is. But I'm not, it's funny, really, because
Does Terry look worried, guys?
Does Terry look worried? It is what it is. But viewers, listen, Tyrell Malacia, Frankie de Jong, expected both to be Manchester United players. On top of that, the decision this week will come in for Christian Eriksen as well. Let's go to some more super chats.
Yeah.
The Frankie de Jong deal is impressive from a rival. Just need United to give him KDB money. Now, it's already been, the money's already been revealed. He's going to be on £250,000 a week, 100k pay cut from his Barcelona salary. But equally, though, that's not actually that hard for Man United. Because if you read, again, the Barca press, Barca were going to renew his deal and half his salary. So he's still earning 100 grand a week more at Man United than his new deal at Barca would have given him. But it's £100,000 less than they had been paying him. So he's kind of, and Man United would be clever about that. It's like, well, listen, they're going to reduce your pay anyway if you want to stay. So what are you going to do? So, yeah, look, 250 grand a week is what he's going to be on salary-wise at Manchester United. Terry, this is embarrassing. He does not play the Busquets role. He is incapable of that. He plays in a double pivot. He can't play 4-3-3 like Busquets. Again, my guy, this isn't my opinion. This is what I've read and seen from multiple Dutch football experts and Barcelona experts who say, I don't think we've really utilized.
What are you doing?
Barcelona.
Just say Barcelona.
I love how they say it. I love the Barcelona, the Catalonian accent. Barcelona. I love it. It's great. I love it. I like when people do that. People do it every now and then. Is they speak with an English accent and they throw a word, throw the accent in it. It's funny. Like when I say cafe, and I'm like, why you put the French accent on it? Just say caf. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, like for me, I'm only going by what I'm reading and being told by experts that don't think he's been utilized right. So we'll see what happens, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
The Chelsea season is going to be painful. The only joy I look forward to is Arsenal and Tottenham implosion and the excuses that follow is what Laddie. Chelsea fans aren't in a good space right now, and you're linked to some serious players. Now, I wanted to talk. We're going to move on to a bit of Arsenal now, ladies and gentlemen. Arsenal, of course, doing bits in the market, really impressing their fans, really pushing on forward. It's been reported that Ajax are seriously considering Arsenal's second offer for Lisandro Martinez. The offer was £34 million, give or take. And there was a feeling that it would have been rejected by Ajax based on the fact that it's below the 42 million asking price. But Ajax are thinking about it. Martinez wants to join the Premier League. Where are you at this week, Jess, with this deal, in the sense of you've really progressed it? It's 2 bids you've now made. It feels like you're very much trying to get it done before anybody else kind of comes in. There is talk of Man United wanting him. Are you growing in confidence that you could get a deal done? Because it looks like Ajax are willing to sell. They're considering this offer. They haven't flat rejected it. The player wants to come to the Premier League. What are you feeling a week into this deal now?
I mean, the longer it goes and the longer that nobody else bids, the more likely it is that he's going to come to us, So I think that's just the key. And that's kind of been, my thoughts on all the deals so far, Gabriel Jesus, Raphinha, and Lisandro Martinez. There's always talk of other teams being interested, but nobody else is putting in bids but us. So I think that that's a good thing. With Lisandro Martinez, it's clearly he's a priority. And I know a lot of Arsenal fans are like, why would we spend this amount on a backup? Let go of the idea of backups. Expand your mind, come into to 2022. He's somebody that can play multiple positions. I think he's going to play left back. I think he could potentially start over Kieran Tierney. I think Arteta wants to play 2 inverted fullbacks. I think that's always been the plan. Tierney also was not an Arteta signing. So, Lisandro Martinez, I think, comes in with a really good opportunity to start for Arsenal. which I think also will make a difference. I feel like, and we'll probably talk about this as well when it comes to Raphinha, playing time is going to be really important right in front of the World Cup. You know, those initial months between like now until the World Cup, players are not going to want to sit on the bench, especially if they're going to be playing for national teams that have a lot of quality. You know, Argentina has tons of quality. You know, Otamendi starts with Romero, and so Martinez needs to keep his spot. So he's probably going to want to go to a Premier League team that's going to offer him the most opportunity to start games and show what he can do. And I do think Arsenal would give him more of that opportunity, especially with Manchester United looking like they're going to get Malacia. You know, that's 3 left backs. Maguire, who I do think is the starter. You know, I think Ten Hag will give him a really good opportunity to really settle in, and especially in that system. So I think we have a good chance with Martinez. I would like to see this close as quickly as possible. Everybody that kind of knows me knows that I think that this is a really important signing. So the sooner the better. But I think we have a good opportunity. But I mean, where do you like if Martinez were to come to Manchester United, where do you see him fitting in? Because 3 left backs, Maguire is the left center back. Where does he get his playing time?
That's a very, very good question. I think that it all depends on this system that we don't know yet. If we play 3 at the back, there's an open opportunity there. I think, by the way, if we sign Martinez, we're not buying him to be a fullback in any capacity. He might play there because of injuries. Alex Telles will leave Manchester United if and when Malacia is over the line. Alex Telles will go. You'll probably find we'll end up raising similar money. You'll probably get at least half the fee back. You'll at least get £7-8 million for someone like him. But that's what will happen there. You've also got the DM element that people are talking about. Maybe there's a kind of a situation where he'll be used in that space. I think Arsenal are, of course, leading this race. Of course, Ajax is considering their bid. I think a bit like with Malacia, if Ajax this evening accept the bid for £34 million, let's just use that fee, I think you'll see an instant reaction from Manchester United, who will then potentially put a bid in to say, well, we'll offer the same. And then it becomes down to a decision between Man United and Arsenal. I actually think the same thing's going to happen with Raphinha. As soon as a club has a bid accepted, you might see 1 or 2 more go boom, boom with their bids because they might have an option taken away from them and nobody kind of wants that. Man United have a very good chance here, but Arsenal are leading that race. And we've seen this summer is honestly like the epicenter of transfers. It's showing people for years that have said you can't agree terms of 2 clubs. Why would a player want to play for 3 different people? There's so many deals that are into like that multiple clubs are in sort of interlinked with, if that makes sense, either directly or indirectly because of other targets and stuff like that. And I look at this deal, and this is a great example. Arsenal making the early moves, and I think that puts you in a great position. It shows the player you want him. It's a priority signing for you. And I think what's interesting about Arsenal, I said it yesterday on the show, I think a lot of gooners are like, that's our 4th choice centre-back. I don't know. I feel like he might be a 1st choice player. I just get this feeling that I don't know if you're buying him to be a backup. I think you might be buying him to improve your backline. And yes, he's multifaceted and can play in a number of different positions. But I just think there was early rumors in the beginning of the window about Gabriel maybe leaving. Now, I know they haven't materialized, but they're there for a reason. Teams typically don't try and buy players who are unattainable. They don't even make inquiries. You know, I always remember a very famous quote from an Inter Milan president who said, yeah, like they once spoke to Paul Scholes. And the way he sort of answered, no, I wouldn't leave. He said, like, no one in Italy ever attempted to buy him again because they just knew they'd get a no, right? And I feel like maybe that's the case there. There is still, for me, a question mark over Saliba. And not Saliba's ability, but just something that was put out the other day. If a silly offer was made, maybe Arsenal would consider it. Now, Arsenal would not be considering any offer if they 100% believe this is going to be the best young centre-back in the world. Do you get where I'm coming from? Like, if 100%...
That still doesn't... But you know that Saliba plays on the right, though.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make more sense to bring in a right-sided centre-back?
It does. And I get where you're coming from, and I understand where you're at, but I still think there's a couple of your centre-backs already at your club who I don't know if your manager is 100% sold on them being the mainstay in that position. Now, I think it's more Gabriel than it is Saliba. But even with Saliba, it's still like no one's come out. Like, I'd just like to see a statement from Arsenal. We think we've got the best young centre-back in the world. Is getting nowhere. There's always these little, no, there's no thought of him going. Unless a big offer came in. And then it's sort of like, Anyway, that's just a thought back of my head, one of those little niggles. I think Gabriel's position in your team could be under threat. Maybe not game week 1, game week 2, but over the course of the season, he could push him. Some Arsenal fans don't like that kind of opinion. But for me, as long as you're improving, I don't really get what the issue with that opinion is. If you get where I'm coming from, I don't think you're looking at this player and he's seen as a priority signing just for him to be this rotational guy. I just don't see it personally, but I could be completely wrong. But I do think you're leading the race. On Man United, though, the advantage we've got is Ten Hag. The second advantage we've got is we have more money. And I think the Eriksen deal is so pivotal because if we sign Eriksen for free in terms of no transfer fee, the money that we would have to use for a different midfield player if he says no, I think is the Martinez money. But if he signs for free, you suddenly got this 35, the price, 35, 40, exactly the kind of the money that Man United were being quoted for someone like Ruben Neves is suddenly available. That's where I think it might go. Or maybe we're a little bit short on Anthony and the money will be sort of split between the defender and the attacker. We can kind of try and get both. I think that's why Arsenal were pushing hard now. Because if Arsenal can get it done and agreed now before Man United get all their other more pressing signings done, they might have it over the line. But I think it's a very, very intriguing race. I don't buy into this notion of United aren't interested. You know, if he picks Arsenal, if he really wanted Man United, he'd just say to Arsenal, no, I'm going to wait and see what Man United do. He isn't doing that. He's kind of waiting now for a bid to be accepted. So I think
there's actually also rumors that he said he wants to come to Arsenal. I do think that maybe, and this is just me just kind of saying the opposite, is that I'm not sure that every single player coming from Ajax is automatically going to choose Manchester United over somebody else. I do think that maybe Ten Hag has a monopoly over certain players, maybe the Dutch players, but I'm not 100% sure that he would have a monopoly over every single kind of player. Martinez is also South American and Arsenal are trying to build a South American core. So yeah, I think the Ten Hag thing does kind of hold some weight here, but I've seen reports that he wants to come to Arsenal. It's not just the Premier League. And I think also, maybe I'm projecting here, but if I'm a player and Arsenal have been making me a priority since April, but Manchester United haven't made me a priority or, a priority until after you didn't get Yuri and Timber, I'm looking like I was like your last choice, so I also think he is not a priority for Manchester United. So I think that makes a difference as well.
I agree with that point. It's a point I was alluding to. I think he's a player we're very interested in. I don't think some United fans have tried to downplay it massively so it doesn't look like a rejection. And it wouldn't be, I gave this example last night. My example was, if a young lady goes up to a young man and says, I want to be your girlfriend and I want to be together forever and I want to get married, I want a serious relationship. And he says, I don't want that. I just fancy a little bit on the side that I have sex with every now and then. And she says, I don't.
What is this example?
Oh, you ruined the example. Stop speaking. You literally ruined it. Could you jump in? Let me get to the end of it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I've got to start again now. You do that all the time. So she wants to be married in a long-term relationship. And he says, no, I just want someone that I have casual sex with. And she says, that's not for me and walks away. The question is, who rejected who? Mm-hmm. So that's the point here. Sometimes it's Man United might want Lisandro Martinez, but they don't want him as much. They don't want him in the way that Lisandro Martinez wants to be wanted. So it's almost like you're not rejecting. There's no rejection per se. It's just they both want different things. That's why and I've said for many, many times now on socials, that Arsenal are the favourites because it's a bit like with Raphinha, because they're making those early moves, because they're putting their money where their mouth is. It means a hell of a lot to players. The only way, the one thing I do think they have as a big advantage, and it's if the player thinks about it, could be money. Now, if we suddenly turn around and go, listen, we didn't come to you straight away because we had other things, but this is where we're at now. There's 150, 160, 170 grand a week. We'll gazump Arsenal if you come here. That's an example. That's a way. And I've read some reports that he wants Arsenal. I've also read some of the same reports that sort of say he wants to move to the Premier League. I don't think he might have a number one, number two choice. I think he'd join a number of teams in the Prem. I think he wants certain teams. I think he also wants the riches that come with being in the Premier League. And there's nothing wrong with that because these guys have got families to support and everything else. But Arsenal's certainly the front runners in that for me. And I know a lot of people in the comments are saying, Terry, Matt Law, Raphinha. Yeah, we've got a Raphinha video out later today. I keep telling content creators, don't do all your content in one video. Otherwise, no one comes back. One of them. We've got a video coming out on that a little bit later. Terry, stop that. Stop what? I don't know what you mean. You got to break that down, Terry.
I mean, he said laugh out loud. I think he's playing around.
Yeah, I know. But what I mean is I don't know what he's referring to because that.
Stop making those stories. Probably that's
analogies.
what he's saying.
But it's a brilliant
analogies. Yeah. Is it brilliant? Is it?
It's a phenomenal analogy because football fans are so obsessed with like saying the irony is we're so obsessed with saying you've been rejected, I didn't get rejected, that journalists don't even give us the full news anymore on stories because they're scared of being screenshots to say, this has happened. Like, just tell us the truth. My favorite is unofficial and official bids. I'm like, what is the difference? Because they're the same thing. It really is the same thing. Terry, massive Raphinha huge. Yes, we know the Raphinha news. We've seen it that Chelsea, I mean, people say it's massive. I swear I just read it. I read it as, I'm going to go back to it again. Let me just go back to this again with my old mate, Matt Law. I don't know him, by the way. Just say my old mate for a laugh. Chelsea giving serious consideration to Raphinha bid. Tuchel wants a 1v1 attacker. And as of today, everything's subject to change in this window. That's what I mean. They put that little caveat in there. It seems Raphinha is most likely to join Chelsea along with Sterling. So what's interesting about that, and you've got to break this down the right way, that's because Dembele has been reported for a couple of days, may stay at Barca for less money. And as I said in the video that didn't get released today, that's coming out later, I've said it already. And I tweeted it the other day. I had people go, how can Dembele affect the Raphinha deal? Because Chelsea are looking at Raphinha. Raphinha is second choice for Chelsea. But they will go in hot. But he's first choice in the Premier League for Raphinha. It's these transfer scenarios are. How do people not love the transfer window? It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And we'll be reporting on that a little bit later for you. Please make sure that like button is smashed. Super chat here says, hang on. If he plays the Busquets role, why didn't Ronald Koeman, his former national team manager, play him there? Well, how did Koeman do at Barca, bruv? How's Koeman getting on? What's he up to? I understand what you're saying. You are ignoring my point. And chill out, Tel. I'm not saying this. Why are all the Dutch experts and many Barca experts saying this? Like, for a minute, drop your opinion and answer the question. Why are the experts saying this? Do you think they're propping up Man United? Do you think Man United have paid them to say this? Like, I want to hear your rationale for why experts are saying what I'm saying. It's not my opinion. Like, it's like me saying, a scientific thing. I can't think of any because I'm not really that smart. It's not for me to say whether dinosaurs were real or not. I'm just going to take the advice of a scientist. Don't shoot me down for telling you what a scientist said. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all. I got a better one that makes more sense. Gordon Ramsay says you shouldn't keep your tomatoes in the fridge. They should be in your fruit bowl. Something to do with the chemical they give off and what it does. It's not good in the fridge. Don't tell me I'm wrong. You tell Gordon Ramsay he's wrong. It's not my message. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not on me, bro. I'm sorry, but it's very confusing. Thank you for the super chat. Terry, Matt Law, and Simon Phillips' latest updates. We just gave that, my friend, Raphinha to Chelsea. It could be. Are you worried about Chelsea getting involved here, Jess? Because you gooners have been like, oh, he's our boy. You know, I've seen you guys every day. You tweet a Brazilian flag or the Brazilian pole. Are you worried that if Chelsea, Todd Bowley, and their big size 10 boots get involved, you could be ousted? What are you saying?
I'll be worried when they put in a bid. That's when I'll start to get worried.
So you're worried then?
Well, no, because they haven't put one in. And I read the report as well. And it said maybe looking at it potentially, those types of things. And a lot of similar reports came out from reliable Chelsea outlets around Gabriel Jesus, and nothing really materialized. So I think this window is one of those where I can't panic until I see somebody else actually make a move. Then I'll be like, okay, now what are we going to do? But similar to Gabriel Jesus and the situation with Spurs, who I know Chelsea are better than Spurs. So I'll put that out there. But what you're willing to pay them and how much playing time they're going to get are going to be really, really important. I do think Gabriel Jesus chose us because we could offer him the starting position through the middle and the position that he wanted. And also we offered him the wages that were bigger than what Spurs could offer.
Yeah.
I mean, Chelsea can offer big wages, but will they offer the playing time? So there's a lot of different factors here. If Chelsea were to come up with a bid, I do think that I would get more worried. But right now, I think they said similar things about Gabriel Jesus and nothing materialized. So we'll see. But I do think that the whole thing with Barcelona and Dembele, where does that leave Chelsea in terms of attackers? It doesn't look like anybody's gonna be going after Nkunku. So yeah, and Spurs have already kind of started in on Richarlison. So it can materialize. I'm not saying it won't. I just say I will be more worried if and when it does. That's kind of where I am with it. Especially after the Gabriel Jesus thing, because we went through the panic of Spurs and Chelsea hijacking and nothing happened, so we'll just wait and see.
Yeah, look, we have seen these things. I think Dembele is an interesting one. If Dembele does reject Barca, I really do see him going to Chelsea. That stops Chelsea from getting Raphinha. But equally, I think that the sort of the player everyone's missing here is if Dembele does leave, do Barca then go in for Raphinha? Because he's already agreed terms with them. They are his number one choice. I mean, theoretically, though, Arsenal shouldn't be going for him, though, should they? You shouldn't be doing it because you sat on here a few weeks ago and said Man United were desperate because they were trying to sign a player that didn't 100% want to be at their club. So you shouldn't really want to go for Raphinha that's likes other clubs more, would you? Is that desperate?
Well, I mean, it's not desperate, but it's still kind of different, isn't it?
No.
It is. I mean, because he didn't want to go to Manchester United at all. He didn't want to leave Barcelona, Frankie de Jong. Raphinha does want to move. Barcelona is his number one choice. Those are different to me.
But you're on your knees asking a man where you're third in line. You're begging, please come to us instead, please. I
thought Manchester United fans were the ones that were saying it was pathetic.
You kind of jumped in on it. Listen, by the way, none of it is pathetic. It's all normal in the window.
I mean, we have to jump in. We're rivals. Of course, we have to make it seem like it's super pathetic.
Of course you do. It's just, you know what it is? This is why
I'm still not convinced he wants to come. But
who, Raphinha?
No, de Jong. I think he really got forced out.
He did get forced out. But my point is, you can make a similar argument with Raphinha and say Raphinha didn't really want to come Arsenal. It's just that Barcelona didn't end up having the money for him. He got forced to go to Arsenal and that's the thing with it, right? It's so normal happening with de Jong that it's okay. It's okay for banter, and I don't mind the banter. Like I've said, it's when people take the banter seriously and they start using it as real rhetoric. I'm like, oh my god, it's a joke. Like the other day, a journalist said that the reason that Tom Keane's been employed in terms of the hierarchy at the club is because he had Declan Rice's phone number. Clearly a satire joke. People took it seriously. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, these people are allowed to have children. They can make toast. They can drive cars. They're allowed to do things. They're allowed out. And they believe this sort of stuff. It's crazy. Hang on a minute. What's it? Spurs, Arsenal, and Man United are making the market interesting. Chelsea will definitely catch up. Raphinha will get more game time at Chelsea than Arsenal. I know you don't agree with that, Jess. I know you don't agree with that.
No, I mean, he walks straight into our team and starts on the right-hand side. I think he gets more playing time at Arsenal. I think that's pretty clear. He's a starter. At Chelsea, they have a couple of different options. And I don't really see Tuchel saying, absolutely, you're going to start these games. I think it'll be a mixture of the group that's already kind of there. Sterling as well, So, yeah, but I don't know. I feel like Raphinha... Also, I want to put this out there that Arsenal this summer, especially because of what happened with Vlahovic, are doing a lot of things to ensure that we don't have people come in and hijack. You know what I mean? We don't have people that level of embarrassment. So, yeah, if this were to happen, it would be because we got super blindsided. But yeah, Raphinha walks straight into our team and starts every single game.
I'll be honest, I agree with Nick. I think again, he's better than Saka on the right. He's better than every Chelsea attacker on the right as well. I think he walks into both those teams without it being even questionable.
So, like, are you saying that our attacks are at the similar level as in
No,
Chelsea?
I'm just saying Raphinha is better than the attackers that you both have on the right hand sides of your attacks. That's all. Like
Yeah.
the attack's interesting because Chelsea's attack ain't that great. That's why they didn't score enough goals overall. They know they need to improve on it. You know, you've got. I think Kai Havertz is a player. I think Mason Mount's pretty good, but Ziyech,
Mhm.
Callum Hudson-Odoi, just to name two, they're all fur coat and no knickers. There is no real substance to them as players in the Premier League. They don't. At the end of the day, you can have all the tricks, the skills, the silks, the drag backs, the step overs. You can make everyone go, Bobby's a baller. You can make people make those weird noises. Do you know what I mean? You can wear the white
Mhm.
clothes, follow the right people on Instagram. You can be cool and fashionable, but not fucking good enough. And if you ain't scoring and assisting and creating chances as an attacker, you're doing niche. The rest of it's niche, brother. Unless there's something at the end of it. Do you know what I'm saying? And Raphinha comes with skill, tech, flair, ability, speed, athleticism, and goddamn outputs. That's
You
a
know what
real
I'm gonna say, though? The
go
funny
on.
thing is that when it looked like he was just gonna go to Arsenal and nobody else was involved, he was overrated for the price, he wasn't that good. I am really looking forward to Chelsea fans coming around to it and saying, because they did the same exact thing with Gabriel Jesus, he was perfect for them when they thought that they were gonna get him or hijack the deal. He became so overrated the minute he got to Arsenal.
And listen, I hear it. It happens to Man United all the time. De Jong, for years, spoken about as this brilliant player. This is how bad it's got at Man United. You're
Oh, what is
looking at you're looking because it's funny. You're looking at Lissandro Martinez, right? Good player,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Man United look at
Very
him.
good.
Man United look at him, and it's Ten Hag is a terrible manager because he can't identify players that he hasn't played with before. It's like, well, everyone else is trying to sign the players that he had at Ajax. Why shouldn't he try and sign them as well? Like it's
Yeah.
fans will always try to twist things to make the good things you do look bad. I'm sure right now there are Arsenal and Chelsea and Liverpool fans trying to find comps of Terrell Malacia making mistakes. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like these things are happening all the time, always. This is what's going to happen. Like there's a what you always, but Man United linked to Frankie De Jong. First thing that was said was won't downgrade. Then the next thing that was said, but without a CDM. I remember seeing Arsenal fans say, if you sign Frankie De Jong without a DM, Frankie De Jong's a bad signing. That logic makes no sense. The team might still have a hole in it, but it doesn't make Frankie De Jong a bad signing. Like he's still a brilliant
Mhm.
player. People always try and twist these things, and we know how good Gabriel Jesus is. But you know me, I don't fall into these traps. I say how good these players are at all times. I don't change my opinion because they join a rival club. Main reason I don't do that is because, like, when I started the Football Terrace, I wanted to speak to fans from multiple clubs. When you're biased like that, no one from a rival club is really going to listen to you. I get called biased every day, but that's because I have opinions people don't agree with. But at some point, I praise
Yeah.
everybody, and that's just the way.
The one thing, like, I saw somebody in the comments say that I was a hypocrite about Basuma. I started off every single thing I said about Basuma that he was a really, really good player. So, like, that's not true. I don't change my tune based on whether or not they're gonna come to Arsenal. If Martinez goes to Manchester United, he's still gonna be a great player. If Raphinha goes to Chelsea, he's still gonna be a class player. Like, that's not how I work. But somehow you guys heard I said Basuma was crap. And no, but yeah, when we had the debate about him between him and Thomas Partey, yeah, I did say he was a little crappier.
Cameron here says Arsenal fan base are going to go into meltdown when Saka says he wants to leave because he's not first team choice. Some will, though. You know that, Jay. Some will go mental if that happens. I knew we shouldn't have signed Raphinha. Oh, that'd
If
be
he
amazing.
doesn't want to stay because he's not first choice, he can go. Like, the best Arsenal teams had so much competition. Like, Kanu and Wiltord couldn't get in the team. You know, like, if he doesn't want to have to compete for a spot, then where is he going to go? Is he going to go to Man City and sit on their bench? Is he going to go to Liverpool and sit on their bench? Like, every team above Arsenal, you're going to have to compete for your spot. So he doesn't want that. He doesn't want to play at the highest level. Like, it is what it is.
Look, I completely agree. And Arsenal fans should be more frustrated with Saka. Look, everyone knows how much I rate and like Marcus Rashford. But last year, his first period outside the first team, really, and the reports came out, he's thinking of leaving if he doesn't get back in the first team. It's like, young man, work hard, perform better, and get back into the first team.
I feel like he wants like a contract that says I'm going to start, on the left.
I think but listen, we're in the generation of entitlement, right? And I'm not surprised that a lot of players think and feel this way anymore. Since they stopped making young players at academies clean boots and do chores around the stadium, I do think things have got worse like that. But I think as well, like, Arsenal fans are in this mode as well. A lot of Arsenal fans predicted things like Saka's going to become world class. Saka, Smith Rowe, they're going to become, top 5, top 10, some of the best players in the world. Now that suddenly you've got these players, Fabio Vieira's, Yuri Tillemans, Raphinha's, looking like they might come in, suddenly their opinion is becoming challenged. And their narcissism and their desire to be right is what drives these agendas against the players. And it's interesting because football fans should want their football team to be better first. They should not love a player more than they love their football club. But they ain't even loving a player. These people want their opinions to be right more than their own club being successful. It's absolutely insanity to me. I'll tell you something else that's a little bit insane. I want to talk about this deal because I don't quite understand it. 60 million pounds for Richarlison. That's a lot of money for a supposed backup football player. 60 million pounds for Richarlison. This looks like this deal's going to happen. This looks like this deal's going to get over the line. Can you make 60 million on Richarlison make sense?
Not really. I mean, I think Richarlison is a good player. Like, I do think he's a good player and he has a good mentality. He's the type that's going to fight and all that kind of stuff. But it's the fee. 60 million, is excessive for Richarlison. Now, I'll say that I also think 65 million is also excessive for Raphinha. I think both of them are somewhere in the 40 to 45 million pound range. And so, is he going to be a backup? I'm not sure. But I think also Spurs are in a position now where they're in the Champions League and they'll be playing more games. Harry Kane is not as young as he used to be. I think they got lucky with his injuries last season and he still kind of had a couple of little issues here and there. So maybe they're just trying to bolster the squad. And I do think when you want to bolster your squad, you've seen what it's like when you bring in players that are supposed backups and they just don't, you spent a little bit of money on them. They were cheap and you get what you pay for. You know what I mean? And so I think with Spurs, they might be trying to do a little bit of a Man City type of move where we've seen Man City do this so many times where players that don't get as much playing time cost 50, 60 million, but they want to make sure that they have the same level of player throughout. So maybe that's how they feel about Richarlison. It depends on how highly they think of him. Is he a 60 million pound player? No. But do they want to pay more for more quality for the players that are going to rotate in? I think so. That's kind of how I feel about it. I don't really see this as like a backup move. I don't think he'll start every game, but I do think that they'll want to rotate more with more quality. Because they had somebody named like Vinicius or somebody like that came in and he went straight back out. He wasn't good enough. And he was a backup to Kane. They need somebody better than that.
Yeah, maybe as you say that the backup for Kane needs to be someone that is a 50, 60 million pound player and not a 20 million pound player because they're going to push him. And I think that Spurs fans, like we've just been saying, theoretically, you've got to want someone to be better than Kane if it was possible, because the team would maybe be better. Will here, though, says Richarlison is better than Jesus for both club and country.
Okay. All right. Look, he does play. I think he does play more for Brazil, and he's Tite's choice, most times. But don't delude yourself. Richarlison is not better than Gabriel Jesus, not for club. And if you look at his club record, Richarlison can't even smell that. He can't even get close to it. And last time I checked, Manchester City weren't even checking for Richarlison. So don't delude yourself. You found a couple little stats off of, the Brazil website and tried to use that, but nobody in their right mind would think that Gabriel Jesus is less of a player than Richarlison. Richarlison just came off of Everton. Gabriel Jesus won 4 Premier League titles. He has over 100 goals for Manchester City. No offense, but come on. Come on. Do you think Richarlison is better than Gabriel Jesus?
To me,
Yeah.
I don't understand £60 million on Richarlison. I understand when I say buying a £60 million player, I sort of look at it like if you win, he is not £60 million of a player for me. If he maybe, and I'm being kind here, maybe he goes to a team like Spurs. Maybe he elevates himself. Maybe he goes to another level. Maybe we see maybe we start to see levels from him which we haven't seen before. Jota moved to Liverpool and was probably better than most people expected, but he cost £45 million. I kind of feel like 45 mil is the cutoff point for it. That's the level of player. I think he's a £45 million.
Yeah,
attack.
of course.
Oh wait, Richarlison level 65 million is higher for a guy with what? Has he got 1 year remaining on his contract? Or is it 2? Why do I think
one?
Why do I think? Do you know what it is? There's so many transfers, but I feel like contract length and everything else plays a part in this as an example.
Sure.
But from my point of view, I don't know. I got 2 years left for Richarlison has got. He's got 2 years left, but that's why they're going to try and capitalize now because next summer it goes to 1 year and it drops massively. So
he's going from a team like the Premier League can, if they're going to sell from club to club, they're going to ask for more because they know Spurs have money. They went into the media and said, we have 150 million to spend. So of course they're going to ask for a lot. And who else are Spurs going to bring in that for sure can play in the Premier League and be that backup that, you know what I mean? I think the attackers market is a lot of overpriced probably prospects. And then you have players that you can pay a little bit, probably more than what they're worth, but you know what you're going to get. And I think that's what Richarlison gives you. I think that's what Raphinha gives you. I think that's what Gabriel Jesus gives you, so I think they all have that same thing in common.
I agree, but you got to also look at Raphinha's deal is only being pushed up to 65 because Leeds aren't done. Suddenly 4 clubs are looking at him, so they're trying to create a bidding war. I actually think the deal for Raphinha will end up being around 50 to 55 max, including of bonuses. Richarlison, and as this Spurs fan here says, for Spurs Talk Show, I hope you're well, my friend, says, I cannot believe we are close to breaking a club record fee for a player that will play less than 40% of the minutes. It's a madness. Well, I was sort of saying earlier when we were briefing in the build-up to this show, I kind of look at it and think, I don't know what the system is they're going to use next year, but is he trying to recreate something almost Lautaro Martinez, Lukaku-esque with Richarlison and Kane? And I haven't even thought it through enough to think about who plays in what other positions, because that's the only way 60 million makes sense, is that you're playing them both. Do you get one? No one spends 60 million pounds for a backup. I can't remember that ever happening. 60 million plus, you are buying a first team player. First team. You could listen, Ollie Watkins at 30 million is better. For a backup striker, Ollie Watkins is better than Richarlison. At 30,
Ollie Watkins is
awful. No, he's better than Richarlison.
No, he's not. No, Ollie Watkins is not better than Richarlison. I have to cut you. No, Ollie Watkins.
So you're telling me Richarlison for 60 million is a better deal than Watkins for 30, 35?
I wouldn't pay more than 20-something million for Ollie Watkins.
Okay. Richarlison at 60 million, you're saying that's a better deal than Ollie Watkins at 20 million?
I mean, you're not going to get Ollie Watkins for 20. You're going to get him for 40 because Aston Villa are going to make you pay.
I get that. Ollie Watkins, I do think in a better team would score more goals for Spurs and impact more games than Richarlison. Richarlison's a 1 in 4 man for me. He's a 1 in 4 man.
Nick, you put a poll out there or something, because there's...
I need a poll. I can answer it. Okay, I'll put a poll out there. Who is better?
Say Ollie Watkins for 40, because that's what it would cost you to get him from Aston Villa.
I can put 35 in. Who is better value?
Did you watch Ollie Watkins this season?
Yeah, but he's got Matty Gerrard as his manager.
He's tragic.
Remember him ripping you guys apart.
Ollie Watkins?
Not
this past season.
No.
Oh, you're talking about 3 or 4 seasons ago. Come on now. 3 or 4 seasons, that's a pass.
There we go. I'm going to put the poll out there and see 60 million for Richarlison or 35 million for Watkins. Who are you buying? You got to pick one. You can't say neither. Who are you buying? I want to know, people. I want to know what you think better value for money is.
Look what Neek says. Put it
I
up
can't.
there. Richarlison is a double-figure goal scorer every season and more versatile. Ollie Watkins is no. As much as I don't think Richarlison is worth 60 million. Again, I also don't think Raphinha is worth some of the quoted prices. They're both 40 to 45 million pounds.
Listen, and maybe they both are at the same level. And if we were offering the same money for all of, if the same money was being discussed for both, then maybe it would feel a little bit different. I mean, the poll so far, 54% agree with me. 54% agree with the king of the football terrace.
Let it cook a little bit longer.
We're like 55% on my side. We're there or thereabouts. But listen,
Spurs fans, would you rather have Ollie Watkins for 30? Like, seriously. Richarlison, he's just not fancy. He's the most un-Brazilian I've ever seen. Like, beyond Fred. Look, he doesn't have the Joga Bonito. He doesn't have it, but he works really hard. He scores goals. Like, he is a better player than Ollie Watkins. Like,
Watkins. I'm not saying he's a better player. I'm talking value here.
The deal?
And I think
it's the value.
I'm talking like if you actually hear what I said from the beginning, at 35 million, Watkins is a better deal. I'm not saying Watkins is an overall better football player than him. I just feel like for how much they're spending, I think there's better out there.
But you also get Richarlison who can play across the front line. So isn't there more value in having a player that can play multiple positions versus Ollie Watkins, who we know can only play one position and barely.
There is that, but I've never seen a team drop 60 million for a backup player that's going to play 3 different positions. Like, they're basically paying 60
Let go of backups, Terry. Let go of backups.
They're paying 60 million. You would never, ever. Like, it's like buying John O'Shea for 80 million because he can play left back, right back, centre back, midfield. You wouldn't do it. You spend 60 million pounds on a player that's going to play one predominant position and own it. That's my point here. This is the first team signing.
I know, but Richarlison, okay, Son and Kane are not spring chickens. Like, they're not old, but they're not young either.
I'm not denying everything you're saying.
So what I'm saying is that similarly to like Arsenal, like how I feel about, Raphinha coming in and creating, more competition for places. I think you spend money on that. Yeah. Richarlison can also do that. And I know that Son and Kane are nailed on starters, but maybe Conte doesn't want that. Maybe he wants to push them a little bit further. Kulusevski as well. So
that's my point. The only
that's
way
not a backup.
No, exactly. The only way this makes sense is if he's starting. If he's a backup, I can't make head nor tail of it. It's crazy money for me. Like, you spend 60 million on a starter. If he's starting and he's part of this plan, he's going to be utilized in a certain way in 80% of the games, then the 60 million pound might be repaid back. But if he isn't and he's like back up to these other players, it's weird. Like, he has to be in the first team thoughts. He has to be. Terry is jarring. Well, you better not watch the football terrace because I'm on 95% of the videos, son.
Somebody else said I was jarring as well. Like, I don't know. I don't even know. Like, who cares? Like, we're having a good combo.
Richarlison won't be back up per se. Bergwijn is going. All they have is Cooley and Mora. Now, listen, I hear you on that. I think at that money, he has to be in the first team thoughts. But what I like about saying that is Spurs fans go, who's dropping out then? Someone. someone's dropping out. I don't know who. I can't even make head nor tail of it. It's a weird deal for me.
Yeah, I think Richarlison's a good player.
You're only just right, Terry. More than 50 million for Richarlison is a rip-off. 27 million for Watkins. I mean, only just right. I'll take that as well. 53% of the vote. In fairness, though,
53 is not even. It's not like you're running away with it.
All right, Hillary Clinton. Do you know what I mean? If I get the votes, I get the votes. But what I'm saying is, I was about to say, if you let me finish my sentence, 53. 47. It's about 50-50 split in it. Like, people are basically what they're saying is they think they're both niche. They're both not good enough. Sorry, Tottenham.
For sure.
Sorry, Tottenham.
Well, they don't seem happy, and I think that's a clear indication of, like, a couple of weeks ago when they had 150 million to spend, and they're bringing in Perisic and Basuma. The vibe was very different. But spending 60 million on Richarlison has seemed to make that fan base feel some type of way. And I think that says a lot because football fans, sometimes we don't know everything, but I think your first feeling about something also tells you a lot. And I don't think that fan base is loving it, which is good. I like that, I like that they're not
Yeah,
happy with it.
they're certainly not enjoying it. Question for Jess: how do you feel about Bow to LAFC?
Well, I love it. Huge news. I think, I don't know, hold that Cardiff. Because I think they thought that they were going to get him. But I think it just speaks to like everybody wants to be in LA. He'll probably never practice or train. He'll probably golf all the time and just show up for game days. So yeah, I mean, I'm loving it. We'll see what happens with it, but class signing.
For that level of football, sort of League One, League Two-esque level,
You're
like
so ridiculous.
it's just very. I've seen it. It's very low level, but it'll do well out there at his age. Very well, very well. Best player in the league instantly. Maybe the greatest player, barring Beckham, to ever play there straight away. Well, Pele played there when it was even weirder years back, and Jules Best, but that was when it weren't.
Yeah, well, he'll be playing with Carlos Vela. Vela is the best player in the MLS. So.
Prem flop, Prem flop.
No, Prem flop.
Marty here says Fred starts over Fabinho for Brazil. Is he better?
This is why I don't take national team arguments seriously, because there are a lot of players that, don't get into their national teams or whatever, but, they're really great for their club. So no, Fabinho is way better than Fred, in my opinion, but like Fred does what Tite wants for that position. So no, then that's why the whole Gabriel Jesus, Richarlison thing about taking little stats from the Brazilian national team, look at what he did for City, and look at Richarlison was sitting around at Everton. Like, he can't speak to Gabriel Jesus. They're not even on the same. It's not even the same league.
Interestingly, for Fred, give him a year or two playing for a proper manager and a proper system. I think we'd all think very differently of Fred. Hang on, hold your horses. I think we'd all think very.
Ten Hag is not saving everybody. Okay, some of these guys are going down with the ship.
But no,
he might be one of them.
I wasn't what I was going to say. You've jumped the gun too early again. You gooners are so premature. It's but I'm going to start calling you all Jim. This is the thing, right? Pep wanted him. And I think if Fred would have used his brain and gone to City instead of Man United, I think we'd all think very differently of Fred. I think he would have done very, very well, because he does play well for Brazil in a structured system, with good quality coach, good people around him. Do I think Fred's better than Fabinho, though? Not right now, no. I don't. But give him 6 months under Ten Hag, and he could be.
May I speak?
Sarcasm. May speak now.
May I speak? Okay, now I could do like the KJ finger. Okay. Pep also considered bringing in Granit Xhaka. So let's not use this whole, Pep wanted him as like a litmus test of like how good this player actually is.
But it isn't the only point that I made. It wasn't the only point I made, was it? Is it the only
but I mean, I hate when people do that. Well, Pep wanted him.
But it shows, what it means is that there was talent there. So I think what has ruined Xhaka partly is he signed. Listen, Wenger was a great manager in his heyday, but he basically had 3 niche managers on the bounce at Arsenal. That didn't help Xhaka. Didn't help that he had an over-the-hill Wenger, and not ready for the Premier League Unai Emery, and he's basically got a baby managing him now who's learning his game. That hasn't helped Granit Xhaka, is it? If Granit Xhaka was managed by day one in the Prem by a world-class, in his pomp manager, he may have been a better player here.
Why has nobody come and got him then? If he's
because he's ruined. Because he's ruined now.
Oh, he's ruined. Oh, okay, he's ruined.
I have a friend from school like this. When they were younger, good-looking, hot, lovely. They get with the wrong guy.
That's just one of these stories.
They end up having like too many kids, and like they drink and eat too much of the wrong foods. You see them 5 years later, and they look haggard. You wanted them back then. You don't want them now. That's what's happened. Like, he's been ruined, damaged good, baggage, and all that. Do you know what I mean? A chuff like a wizard's sleeve, but you don't want them now. What I'm saying is, Xhaka has been ruined by. I'm only winding you up. Zane here says Richarlison at 60 may be good, but 35 for Watkins plus 25 to buy a centre back is better. Also, Watkins can play on the left and is better at the number 9 role than Richarlison.
I mean, we do this a lot. Like, people, he can play. Yeah, I mean, I could technically go out there and play, but that doesn't mean I'll be any good at it. he can play on the left. Like, he's not. Ollie Watkins is a sneaky one of the worst players I've seen. Like I guess I have an agenda. I think he's crap, but that's just me.
Terry, you really need to have some football minutes. Your analogies are now, my analogies are
No,
I don't know about you. My analogies are absolutely on point, and you don't know what I'm talking about. Talking about that little salt you used to like, who then 5 years later ain't the same because you've been ruined by a number of things in her life. You ain't the same anymore. You can't bring it back either. You can't go back in time now. You can't redevelop someone. They're bang on.
I can't with this.
It's true. Hold Fred to. Sorry, hold on. Fred is far younger than Fabinho. Jesus and Richarlison are the same age. Jesus hasn't scored for Brazil in 3. Has he not scored in 3 years for Brazil?
No, I think he's
really
one goal.
As a number 9 for Brazil. He ain't scored a goal.
Well, he hasn't really been getting in the team. He's been struggling. That's why.
Oh wow! I didn't know. I don't research these things.
But I mean, if you want to use what's going on with Brazil as an indication of whether or not Gabriel Jesus or Richarlison, who's better than who, fair enough. But make sure you're consistent across all of that. But again, I wouldn't want Richarlison.
I'm not.
No, not you. I'm saying like Will Stewart, because obviously it's like, okay, I can't get him on the Premier League thing, so I'm going to try to get him with Brazil. Fair enough. That's what you want to use to make your point.
Terry, you can't use an analogy like that around women of a certain. Yes, you can. Women are not these weak little dainty shrinking violets. Women can understand the joke and the narrative, and it's just a joke. It's fine. Women, Jess, are you offended? Do you need a safe space? Are you okay?
No, I'm good.
Sure. You're not gonna.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Make sure you're okay. KJ's backstage. HR session afterwards, please, KJ. There we go. I've got him on the Prem. Read my other super chat. Oh, maybe I missed it. Oh, hang on. Oh, yes, we did. You did say that. You did mention the super chat thing. Look, it's going to be an interesting one to see who performs a £60 million. Richarlison's got to be banging in goals or creating goals. No one can get away from that one, my G.
And he needs to stay on his feet. He spends more time on the ground than he does actually running around on the pitch. So
Leaf said it's just annoying because Skriniar, Bastoni, and I can't pronounce that name, are all free. Yes, are all free. What do you mean they're all free?
They're not free.
They're not free. Leaf, what are you talking about? You muppet.
Another Tottenham fan doesn't even know what's going on.
It's Leaf.
All free.
All free.
Could you clarify? Maybe that's not what you meant. Maybe you meant something else.
And they're definitely all not free to just go and buy. Bastoni said no. Like, you tried. Bastoni said, get out. Get out. Conte, get out. That's what he said. I heard the rumor. Terry, tell the lady. Okay, that's a weird one.
What did he say?
No, nothing.
It was rude, wasn't it? Tell the lady. First of all, you guys, my name is Jessica. You don't have to call me that woman or that lady. My name is Jessica. You can say my name, like that lady.
He says they are free to buy. My mother tongue is French, and that's an expression.
Yeah, in theory, like, every player is there to buy, but like you can't get them. Like, you know what I mean? So Bastoni said no. Skriniar looks like he's going to PSG. I don't know what's going on with De Vrij. So I don't know what Spurs are gonna do. I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna get Langley on a loan. For that left center back position. So yeah.
The Bertie Hotspur says 60 million for Richarlison is better than 80 million Maguire, 72 million Pepe, and 97 million Lukaku. Listen, you're probably right. I would agree with you on that. But I know
that for sure, because those are already flopped. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that's like, that don't make you feel better. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got another analogy here, and I keep it on the same thing. All right. My missus might have cheated on me 3 times. Yours might have only cheated on you once. It doesn't make you feel any better, does it? Because having me 3 times, like, it don't matter.
I get you're trying to back your club and the situation and all that kind of stuff. I get, like, you got like honestly, like the Pepe stuff, like couldn't give a rip about that now. But yeah, spending 60 million on Richarlison, it just has to work out. I'm not saying it won't, but 60 million, you're gonna expect a lot from that player, you know.
You definitely are. Someone said there's a super chat that I've missed, and I didn't think I did. But maybe I did. I can't find it now. Oh, here. Henry was the best player to ever play in the MLS. Yeah, probably. Not when he went there, though. Didn't do it in a cup final, did he? But there we go. Watkins is crap. Man scored one less goal than Tony in a similar minutes. Everyone rates Tony.
Tony is crap too.
In similar minutes to Ing. Do you think Tony? You think even Ivan Tony's crap?
I think he's so overrated. Like, you know, I will give him that. Like, they didn't have a creative player in their team until Eriksson came, but for the hype, I don't think he's that much better than Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is average. You know, maybe a little bit above average. The hype of some of these players, I just don't really get. You know, because Watkins and Tony, they're about the same-ish level. They're all kind of mid-range Premier League, you know, status. They're not amazing. They're not taking the step up to no top 6 team. That's what I'll say.
I hear you on that. Apology FC today. I ain't apologizing.
Wait, what was that? I didn't even get to read that last one. I saw my name in there. Jessica's a lady, full of class and smarts. I'm not an Arsenal fan, by the way. So why didn't you want to read that? You didn't want to read the nice one.
I read out the ones that pay. Or members.
Oh, but he's a member.
Oh, no, he's a member. Sorry, I didn't see that. Dallas, I'm sorry. I didn't see the little thing. I'm sorry.
What it was, you were saying something nice about me. Had you been saying something mean, Dallas, he would have been reading it out.
I'm sorry, my guy. I'm sorry, my guy. Ndombele was 65 million. So what if Richarlison is? You don't want him to be if he's like Ndombele, that's not a good thing, brother.
What are you saying?
Bro, that's not a good thing. Do you know what I mean?
Does he still belong to Spurs? Is he still he's a loan player, right?
I don't know, you know. Terry,
you got to get rid of him. He's on 200 grand a week.
Terry a fraud. Just like that.
Oh.
I don't know. Listen, I always say this, like we honor our super chatters and members. We read out their comments because they pay for it and they support the channel. It's like, it's not about being disrespectful to people that don't do it. It's about respecting the people that do. Because if you highlight people that are not doing it, what's the advantage of doing it? For that person, you're paying to have your comment read out. Like, I think it's very disrespectful to do it the other way around. A lot of other channels I watch, they don't even read the super chats out. I can't believe people keep super chatting them. It's mad. It's mental. But that's just my take anyway. Afternoon with the Shane. That's true. I used to watch this one channel, and I don't know how much, say like £500 in a show, and they might read one out. And every show, people were doing it. And I'm like, why? Why would you pay a person that doesn't read your comments? And there's a UFC fighter called Michael Bisping. He's got his own YouTube channel. He does like 1 or 2 live streams a month. And this guy will sit there until no one's super chatting anymore. He just doesn't stop. Like, he's like thanking everyone. And I'm like, that's how you do it. But that's just my take anyway. I could be wrong. You don't read our chats of Academy members. I don't know whether you're an Academy member or not when you make a comment. It just says this. I can't put up all the member comments because there's hundreds of members, but we put up as many as we can. This summer is disappointing, and we now definitely challenge we will now definitely challenge for the Prem. But maybe him and Richarlison will be a huge success. You're challenging for the Prem.
Wow. You know what? Let me just say this. I know we're going to get to this in like a couple of weeks, but there is definitely a group of Spurs supporters that feel like they're going to challenge for the league. And I think it's coming from the video that Roy Jennings did that said, could they win the league? We know somebody that thinks this. We've seen it.
Yeah, Spurs ain't winning no league. Spurs ain't winning the league. Spurs are not winning the league.
But some of them do believe that that's the next step. You guys, you know, you need like at least 20 something more points.
This is one of my favorite comments of the day. Big fan of you guys, but Terry, someone needs to take away that green check mark. Do you
He
know?
abuses it.
I mean, I don't. I mean, you'll never find a green tick against a tweet that says deals on without seeing at least one credible journalist talk about that being an active, open, or possible deal. They every single time. You know, I remember when I put the Broja one out about 3 weeks ago, I got so much abuse from Chelsea fans. And then turns out West Ham have bid for Broja. You know, I remember the thing that's weird with the Gabriel Jesus. That was the one that really ruined people's brains because they were like, how can it be on at all three clubs? Because that's how transfers work. You know, right now, Raphinha to Barca, Raphinha to Arsenal, Raphinha to Chelsea, it's all on. It's all on. They're all on. They're all green ticks. I just haven't green ticked them because I only green tick things where I get support on the story from some people part of the exclusive team of my partners. So there's a method to the madness. It isn't just I wake up in the morning like, oh, am I going to green tick? But yeah, it's a laugh. I know you're only messing, my guy, but I do love how certain people get. I've got this one massive account every day. They've obviously got burners because every day they share like screenshots of what I do. Imagine your day revolves around screenshotting my tweets. Like, honestly, I'm so privileged and happy that someone gets up every morning and thinks that much about me. It's amazing. I wonder if they think that much about me when they're showering. I don't know. Oh, Leaf said it's a typo, Terry. They're not challenging. Leaf, we knew that. You didn't need to write it, bruv. You didn't need to write you're not challenging because you were never challenging for the Prem. Tottenham. Sorry, but no. I don't see that one happening. Hang on. Terry clickbaited us. Yes, absolutely. Every day. That's what I do. That's why. Do you know how much of a clickbaiter I am? My subscribers have grown by 12,500 people. Imagine that. Who would subscribe to a clickbaiter? Sorry. I love the facts never stack up, but there we go. There we go. Win what? Yeah, I don't know what they're going to win. Oh, go on then, Martin. Let's get the green tick. How many green ticks can we get in before the end of the show? Get your green ticks in, people. Get your green ticks in. Get them done. Get them done, people. What's it say here? Don't think you should ever say never. Listen, the reason I'm going to say never right now in this position is because there was no City and Liverpool at this level. There wasn't even a Chelsea at the level they are now back then, in my opinion. So even though Chelsea won the leagues and stuff, they were so up and down at that point. They're a little bit more consistent now, but mainly City and Liverpool. There was no team in the Premier of that level. If this City or Liverpool team existed back in 2015 or 16, whatever year it was, Leicester wouldn't have won the league. With respect to Leicester, I'm not taking anything away from Leicester. Look at these green ticks. Done deal. Oi, oi. That's still on. Done deal is that. It's a black tick. It's a black tick for done deal. Do you know what the reason I did it? I created my own little thing because I saw journalists doing this and YouTube, all doing their own little things and words and things. There's a guy I follow, there's a bit of it in the know. And when he doesn't do here we go, he does finito when a deal's finished. And I'm like, that's his little thing. My little thing's the emoji index. It's great. If you don't like, do you know if people don't like it? Do you know what they can do? Block. You don't need to follow me. If you block me, you can't even see a retweet. Don't worry about it. Get on with your life. Go make yourself successful. Triple L, look at this. Look at my people out here. Hang on a minute. I need to go and check something. But Jess, if this news is true, I need you not to cry on air. Let me go and check this because this is from one of his credible sources out there. And then I'm gonna say, should I do a green tick? Hang on a minute. Nazir Kinsella says Chelsea remain well placed to take Raphinha from Leeds ahead of Arsenal and Tottenham. Raphinha to Chelsea on. Ladies and gentlemen, I want a yes or a no. Should I green ticket? Should I green ticket? Let me know in the comments now. So I do a green tick. Should I do a green tick? Should I do a green tick? Let me know yes or no if a green tick's coming. That's how it works. That's a green tick. Let me know. I haven't seen enough. Oh, here we go. Look at it. Yes. Yes, here we go. Man here is calling Nazir Kinsella a fraud in the know. Oh, wow. Chelsea leading the race here. It's going to happen now. This is going to trigger Arsenal fans, but I've got to do it. Chelsea.
Did you look to see where it came from?
It come from Nazir Kinsella. That's all you need to know. Nazir Kinsella is the source. He is the
No,
guy.
it came from somebody else, and he just retweeted it.
Oh, did it? Oh, did it? Yeah, but if he's retweeting it, he's verified it. Like this, like Nazir Kinsella is.
Okay.
When I say
well,
this,
we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. You seem really excited about this for some reason.
I love the transfer window. The transfer window is amazing. Honestly, if the transfer window was 10 months and the Premier League was 2 months, I'd accept that change. I love it. I love it. I think it's because I'm a natural born son. Richarlison to top Chelsea is on. Let's see how many people get triggered. How can it be on at both clubs? Oh, here we go. Right. The thing is as well, by the way, people, I used to last year, I would just write Raphinha to Chelsea and put a green tick. I now write the word on so no one gets misled. See, I've evolved based on feedback because I do love you all, really.
Yeah.
Should I send it? I'm going to send it. It's sent. It's sent.
Send it.
Let the abuse commence. That's what's going to come now. The abuse is on his way. Terry is a secret Chelsea fan. No, I'm not. Yeah, I saw that too. Definitely. Like, the contorting. There we go. Listen, my people. I really appreciate you all coming on. I really appreciate you all having your say. I really appreciate all the super chats, the member chats, and all the support every one of you gives the Terrace. I will say this. I always like to do little announcements live on the air. The biggest live straight fact show ever with GS. Didn't quite top some of the fights between me and Lee Gunner at the back end of last season, but the biggest one we've ever done. Viewers, much respect to each and every single one of you. But until next time, please look after yourselves. Please take care. Goodbye. God bless. And